Cool. So I think thanks everyone for making it. We're already live, so people can hear us. That's great. And I see a lot of more people have joined in. We'll keep it fairly simple, quick, free-flowing, fun conversation today for everyone. The idea is to get to know the other side of these entrepreneurs, what goes in their life, how was the experience, what went down, some insights, some fun stuff. So 7 to 8, we'll try to have a conversation with each other, and then post 8, I think we can open it up for some Q&A, depending on what people have in mind, right? Awesome. So guys, where is everyone dialing in from today? Want to keep it super fun, free flowing? Let's start with like basics. I'm from Bangalore.
Count the number of times you say fun in this conversation.
Yeah, it's like the more times you say fun, the less fun it is. Right? Let's make sure we have fun. Make sure.
I'm in Delhi. Gurgaon.
Me too. From Delhi, in Faridabad.
Shreyan.
From Gujarat.
I'm from Pune.
Nice. And guys, how many of us has been geeking about Shark Tank US? Like, how many have been Shark Tank US fans?
Yeah, I used to like watch that a lot. I thought it was free information, right? Like it's free unit economics about companies. Yeah, it's like great. This is great data. So I used to watch Shark Tank USA a lot. Like it's free business advice.
I used to watch it as well, but this was back when I was in school. It's a pretty fun show though, quite entertaining.
I was also a fan of Shark Tank US before Shark Tank India came in. Like Shark Tank India is few notches up. So much of masala and so much fun that we are trying to build. वो बहुत fun है यहाँ पे already. तो अब Shark Tank US उतना interesting नहीं लगता.
I think I'm the only exception. मैं like not been a follower. I have always known it existed, but कभी ऐसे follow तो नहीं किया.
Really? I think all of us have been like, I've geeked a lot on Shark Tank US. I think maybe not so much on Shark Tank India because of the masala piece, which Arpit is talking about, but it's actually quite fun.
I don't know. Even I did not geek so much. Like a few episodes that were, making rounds on YouTube that would pop up on the recommendations, but never, follow episode by episode and pitch by pitch and so on.
I think I've seen like 3 or 4 episodes total.
Wow.
Which, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe I should have watched more episodes.
I had a couple of my college mates who ended up making the Shark Tank US, so it was very interesting. I knew one of them pretty well. It was really interesting to see her, in the tank. So I'm following it closely, but
Interesting. Nice. So guys, I think where were you, all of you, when the episode actually screened, right? Like which part of the country, location, maybe what setup were you in when the episode finally came out? And also like share, maybe were you nervous? Were you excited? Like what happened, right? Like did your family actually believe you're doing something when you actually got shared?
You will go first.
I can go. I was in Hyderabad. I was there for customer meetings and my grandparents stay there. So I was like curled up on a couch, like somehow stop this episode because I didn't know how the cut is going to come out. So I had not promoted it at all. Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God, फिर से एक और ad हो गया. Okay, फिर से Amitabh Bachchan, Nabya Naveli, skip, what's going to happen? So yeah, the whole episode for me was like that. And then once it came out, I was like, okay, theek hai, fine. Now everyone can go watch it.
But Mansi, what's your take, right, on the cut? Because I think, like obviously all the others got a deal, but you didn't get a deal. But overall, I think, to my eyes, it seems good. But I want to know from you, right? Like, what's your overall quick take?
I think it's been good. We didn't expect investment. We didn't go there for investment either because we know, we're a B2B tech company. The revenue to valuation ratio at the stage where we are, we knew that it was going to be a problem. So as long as the episode came out well in terms of being able to talk a little bit about what we do, attract some customer attention, that was our primary objective. And I didn't know, whether that's going to be served either because it all depends on the cut and how things are shown eventually. But I think it came out well and the reception has been quite good. I did also have a lot of thoughts on like the whole interaction, what sorts of questions were asked, etc. But overall, I would say positive experience.
Yeah, interesting. What about you guys? Where were you when the episode got screened?
So we organized a watch party. We booked a place. We took the entire team there. But there was this BT. What I did was that I booked it in a 5-star hotel. So they did not allow us to scream. And all my team was on top of their voice. So from entry till the end. And what happened was that every guest that was staying in that hotel came out in the balcony and was seeing what is going on. What have entered the hotel, but we didn't care. We were like literally pushed out. Ki, sir, हो गया आपका episode खत्म, अब निकलिए. निकले भाई, पैसा दिए लाए. But no, it was sort of fun, but thoda sa fun was reduced because we were not allowed to do the usual shouting. So that was one learning that once you are doing a party of sorts, don't book hotels. Was that way.
Don't do 5-star hotels specifically. I think that's the
Not
wrong.
like star, but Faridabad में 2 ही hotels है. See, it's like so much of grading यहाँ पे. 2 ही option है, एक Radisson है और एक Park Plaza है. So Park Plaza is what we booked क्योंकि वो खाली रहता. वो उस दिन खाली नहीं था.
Interesting. Shreyan, Anish, what's your take? Where were you guys?
So I was at my home, like the whole family together. We watched it. मैं तो उल्टा होके like I watched it from the back first because again like nervous on what would get aired because like I had seen things getting mingled, but it was fun. बहुत मजा आया. करके भी बहुत मजा आया. I think just doing shooting for that 1.5 hour was very fun. The whole 3 days are like lethargically boring, but the 1.5 is pretty good. And one thing I felt was like actually the experience itself of shooting was amazing, like at least for us. And the kind of questions were asked were very genuine, very to the point, right? It's actually like a dumbed down version that's telecasted, right? The conversation is actually much more traditional VC like in the room.
मतलब, how many of you felt that the conversation went into a very intense mode? For me, it did.
नहीं, हमारा तो ऐसा नहीं होगा.
For you, it didn't. It did.
For me, it was very intense, यार. मतलब मैं तो बस रोया नहीं. I don't know कैसे.
On the show, it actually looks so casual. So I was looking at the video, right? Like the video was like you were having fun, you're chilling, you're cracking jokes, you're having fun banter on the pitch. At least that's the cut it looks like.
The middle, it was very intense for me, यार. एक point तो ऐसा था, I was like कि भाई धुआं निकल गया, बस रुक जाओ अभी. But
I also felt it was kind of intense. I would say like the first half was very smooth flowing. But I think I just felt out of control of the conversation because we, like for us especially, it's a whole new market, right? Like no one, like they have no idea. And so you have to explain a lot of different things. But the problem is you start saying something and they interrupt. So I felt like half the conversation was me being like, sharks 2 minutes, sharks 2 minutes. And that I think felt kind of intense because I was just like, you're saying these things. Now I'm trying to like explain, but I can't also explain. So it's the sense of helplessness at least, which felt.
they are also short on time, yeah. And they are also shooting from morning till late night. So समझ पाए.
Fair enough on their side. Like it's, I feel like what they asked was reasonable and they were genuinely engaged in trying to understand. But it's just the nature of the interaction is such that it will get that way. Especially if it's like an unknown market, unknown space altogether.
But yeah,
I mean, your show came out pretty neat. Were there any intense moments?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
No, I was also like what you guys said. I was very nervous before airing because there was a lot of intensity, or there was just a lot of they were really grilling you, and some of it was very like I thought unreasonable. So I was nervous about the edit as well. I think all of us got a really good edit from what I see, from what it is. I think then credit to the producers because they focused on the right things, right? Because some of the masala that was in my episode, like that got cut out, was very irrelevant. I'm like, so I was like hoping that they don't kind of talk about this because it's not core to what we do, but then it's also masala, so it's interesting. But yeah, we got a very clean edit. But yeah, there was a lot of heated conversations and kind of went off track. I think they were told, I don't know, I think this season they might have been told, I could be wrong, to be a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive because some of it I thought was very unreasonable. I was like, okay, this is not in character either. Well, I mean, I don't know them very well, but but yeah, so yeah, we had that one. But yeah, we also had a little watch party. The whole team came home and we watched together. I was very nervous before Ed, but yeah, I think we got a good edit, so I was happy.
But Anish, you remember before the episode got aired, the trailer got out, right? And the trailer was quite intense. I remember like we talking to each other, and you were like, "Hey man, I don't know, fingers crossed. We don't know what's gonna come out, right?" Because at least by the look of the trailer, it's gonna be, "Hey, there's a
there was a lot of stuff that I mean, if for entertainment value, they could have done like they could have added. I guess I don't know for you guys, but I'm sure there was elements where you're like, oh shit, agar ye dala to people will enjoy it with like popcorn. But I don't know if it's very good for our for like the way we are portrayed. So I think we got a good edit that way. I think they chose certain themes. Like for us, they chose like, hey, these are trying to be like impact first, right? That's what we kind of try to double down on. So that was nice. And again, for Shreyan and for Mansi, I guess it was an Ecopreneur episode, so they didn't have to they were like, you already had the goodwill ki boss abhi acha hi kaam kar rahe ye log, inko kitna marenge hum.
But how come this is the first Shark Tank India where we have an Ecopreneur episode, right? Like, I mean, before seasons we never had that.
Yeah.
They tried doing one in the middle of season 2 and 3. And we were called for that. We got selected. We got the call. Okay, you guys will be on the Ecopreneur episode. And then they're like, I'm like, yo, so it's supposed to shoot like tomorrow, but mujhe kuch email nahi mila. They're like, no, the whole episode has been cancelled. I think then they brought it again back on season 3, which is nice.
But I'm actually quite curious. So for four of you, right? Can you just all of you can take a stab at dumbing it down? Like, how does it exactly work, right? From like, do you reach out? They reach out? Like from all the way to first conversation to production to airing, right? Like, can you give us some timelines and exact process? How did it go? And was it like same for all of you?
Yeah, for me, they did reach out. So I do recall what Anish is talking about, that they were actually looking for eco category entrepreneurship this year specifically. And the word that we had was, the LPs wanted. The LPs of, all of these sharks, they have set up their own family offices. Nobody's putting their own personal check per se, right? And all these LPs in the Shark Tank's family offices, they do want some eco projects to be aired. So they were very aggressively looking out for projects in the eco category, the sustainability category. And what I remember from various other conversations was that there were various other family offices that were referring us ki Shark Tank mein apply definitely karo. They are looking out for sustainability category, especially this year. So is about definitely chance hai, do apply. So repeated, there was this information that was being loaded from various sources parallelly. So I think ye काफी strong theme इनका starting से ही था. From the very beginning, and I think in the beginning they were not sure that they want to do a Ecopreneur specific episode or not, because we were mixed, like Anish and I was mixed in the mainstream thing. We were not aired in the Ecopreneur specific episode. That is partially also because they also keep taking the applications on a rolling basis. ऐसा नहीं है कि hard deadline है. So even after the till very late the applications are open. मेरे को याद है मेरा shoot हो गया था तब भी applications open थे.
Wow. And how does it start, right? I mean, what month do they reach out or you reach out? How much time does it take from like first call to actually shortlisting? How many stages are there? And is it like same for everyone?
A long time. Yeah, I mean, so for us, they didn't reach out. We applied. The reason we applied was because I knew one B2B company that went last time, and they got, when they walk into government offices and all, people recognize them. So I was like, okay, itna bhi ho jaye, it'll help our business. तो ठीक है, risk ले लेते हैं of national embarrassment. And मतलब we applied, I think it was June or something. So it is quite a while. And for us, like what Anish you were telling about last year, they said, December mein aa jao, then cancel. Then January mein aa jao, then cancel. And then finally in March, we were like, okay, chodo, ab to nahi hone wala, whatever. Financial close ho raha hai, we're very busy, whatever. And then suddenly they're like, aa jao. And we were like, okay, theek hai. If this like multiplies customer engagement, I guess we do throw everything aside and come. And they know that. So they have that leverage. And so they just do things very last minute.
This is this year, 24 March. This happened for you.
Yeah. Literally, so our episode literally shot and came out in the span of 2 weeks. So there was time to like process it.
December.
September. We were shot in September. So I was literally feeling कि these guys are not going to air my show. I was also Anish in the meeting we met कि यार मुझे तो नहीं लग रहा क्योंकि it's been long. We were almost the first lot of people who were shot, and again, all of the people who were shot on the same day as mine were aired much before. And so I was like, "Bhai, ye to gaya." See, honestly speaking, what I earlier felt, ki the sequence in which you are shot would potentially be the sequence in which you would be aired, right? So I was shot in the second week of when the Shark Tank started. So I was like, "Bhai, initial mein aa jayega, like first 2-3 weeks mein, 4 weeks mein, it would be aired." And I told everyone in the family. And this is the biggest mistake I've done in my life. I told everyone that I would be aired on Shark Tank, and it would be in the very starting. So January they started airing. January ended, nothing came. Then people started texting, "Bhai, kya scene?" And I was like, I texted them back, Shark Tank team, and they said, "Ki we will tell you 3 days before only." So, and I was like, "ठीक है, जो हो रहा है." फिर February came. February was towards the end, and I was like, "भाई नहीं आ रहा." फिर everybody was texting me, "आना है, नहीं आना." मैं नहीं आना. कट गया, हमारा कट गया, नहीं होगा.
Yeah, that was the opposite. We were the last
We shot at
last
very end.
pitch on the last day of the last. I mean, like last. I mean, so they had a special shooting, like their special set for Shreyan and Mansi, but like the main set, like the main season, whatever, they broke the set down after our pitch, right? So it was like on a Saturday evening at 6 p.m. I think all the Sharks were a little bit like, we're done with this season, we're done. So we were like the last people to be shot, and so we thought we'd come right at the end. I was like, we're preparing for March, you know. But then I think they wanted to introduce all the new sharks, early enough. So Ronnie only shot for one day. I think it was only on one episode. So I think they pulled us earlier. So we came we were like not expecting it. So we were like, ah, shit, like scramble and like get all our PR stuff together. So it was the opposite of. It was the opposite of.
There is no point in trying to crack what they think. They think purely based on TRP. ये TRP होगा, इसको इस दिन दिखाना. That's it. I don't think
Basically, you don't know the exact timeline when you get shot, when you get aired. Even if you get aired or not, I think that's even a possibility.
Yeah, but the TRP, I mean, yeah, they care about TRP obviously because it's important, but they did give us good edits, right? I think they could have, I don't know about you guys, but they could have made us a lot more dramatic, our thing, which would have probably done better for ratings. But they gave us a good edit, and I want to give credit to the producers there because they focus on the right things. Because I think in the future also, you don't, as an entrepreneur, you don't want to get skewered for unnecessary reasons. So some of the episodes, like I know one of the episodes that did really, like one of the entrepreneurs who got a bad, seemed like a bad edit. I don't know, like Areto shoes. I don't know if you guys heard of them. They got it was like but apparently it was even worse in the tank. So they were, from what I hear. So I think we got good. I mean, at least they're looking out for the entrepreneurs a bit because there's such a big power dynamic, right? Like we're all like, it's so weird when you enter the tank. I'm sure you guys felt this way because there's no music, right? There's no like what you hear it kind of becomes all quiet and they're pretty far away. Like they're not as close as you think you are. And in the beginning, you're just adapting to the noise. And then they are obviously comfortable. And you're like, I can't forget it. Hindi mein pish nahi bhulna hai. So there's a power dynamic there, right? Which so I feel like I want to give credit to the producers. I think they did a good for us at least. But yeah, no, TRP. We didn't know like the night we got like the night before.
I think they chose a narrative for the cut. Like this is how we want to portray this particular company, and then they sort of juice out the elements which fit with that story. So I don't think they're just like, okay, masala. No, there's like a sense of coherence in the whole narrative.
True.
Interesting. And Anish, was it like I want to come to Arpit also. I think there was a very firstly, I think the four of you have very different pitches and very different style of pitching, right? So I think that was quite refreshing to see in terms of how you guys are pitching. But Anish, for you specifically, was it like tough to, because it's Hindi and I know fluent in Hindi, but were you like thinking in English and then converting into Hindi?
Oh no, man, I'm not fluent. I got a really good edit. So anybody who knows me was like, wow, amazing Hindi. Anybody who doesn't know me was like, shit Hindi. So it was very interesting. So no, I got a good edit. No, that was tough. But I think after the pitch, it becomes like English. Like it's free for all. It's kind of like, they'll tell you sometimes Hindi mein bolo, but you kind of get away with it. So that was a bit, that was a bit unnerving. Like, would I have preferred to be all in English? Yeah, but like, again, it's an audience. It was a bit nervous. I was very nervous about. I'm not nervous about pitching because the amount of pitches we do, guys, as entrepreneurs, it's like you're not nervous. But wo Hindi mein pitch karna, and then it's like one take. They don't really give you a second take, so it's like.
And do you guys get just one shot, or like they're like moderate enough to allow you again?
It's a reality show. It's short what is short, and then it's all about edits. That's what Anish is saying. He's thanking so much on the edits. I'm also thanking so much on the edits. Because in reality, it was sort of shitty.
Interesting. I think before we jump to the reality part, which I think everyone would be excited to know more about, like how was it that day? I just realized I think we should do quick introductions. We should do Shark Tank pitches here, just for the audience to at least know again what you guys are really building and the problem you're solving, and probably like the longer term vision. If you can just
good flow, Saksham. Such a good flow set. Yeah.
Let's do a Shark Tank picture.
Yeah, we'll go first.
Who want to go first?
I can go.
Come on, Shreyan. You're quiet. Let's go.
So,
I didn't go for a chance.
sorry,
Shreyan's.
What?
Guys, one of you should go first. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So, I think we very recently aired, so anyone who's here would have watched it already. But at Canavloop, we convert certain types of agriculture waste into textile grade fibers and yarns. We've been doing this commercially for 4 years, and it's been good so far.
भाई revenue लॉन्ग पॉइंट है जो मैं दरबार रहा हूँ वो तो पिच में लगाकर वो तो कभी नहीं बोलता हो जाएंगे आप
Where is necessary, I'll speak. अभी जरूरी नहीं है नंबर
पहले
Okay.
but
Yeah.
this guy he's built a very high scaled and very valuable business so far. I know him for quite some time now. Love the way he thinks and love the way he builds business. About my introduction. So, hello everyone, I am Arpit, founder of Dharaksha Ecosolutions. Dharaksha comes from two Hindi root words, Dhara meaning earth and Raksha meaning saving. So it translates to saving the earth from the problem of pollution. We are an alternate materials company. We are building substitutes to petroleum-driven products using biotechnology and agri-waste. The first product that we made, that we built, replaces styrofoam or thermocol, as we call it in India. It is made from paddy straw waste that would have otherwise been burnt, and we use mycelium, which is basically the roots of mushroom, as the binding element. So it's a core biotechnology plus engineering company.
Interesting. Okay, I can go. Or okay, I'll go. Okay. Hi, I'm Mansi. I have a startup called DigitalPaani, and what we are working towards is solving for urban water scarcity. We do this by focusing on making sure that water assets actually work, because most of the treatment plants and so on actually don't, like 75% of them don't. So our tech essentially manages the whole operations process for these units, whether it's automating them, telling people what to do, how to troubleshoot, what chemical to dose, maintenance, everything involved in operations, we take care of through our tech, which is an IoT-enabled software and automation system. We work primarily with buildings and industries, but we also do work with larger scale units, public infrastructure. So yeah, and focus primarily on wastewater, which is what the pitch was focused on, but we also look at total water management for these same buildings and industries. So the idea is treat more, recycle more, reduce water losses, save the planet.
Are you guys focused only on the ETP or ETP, STP both?
ETP, STP, and then secondary focus is WTP, pumping stations, cooling towers.
Yeah,
But yeah, we focus entirely on wastewater because we were like, hey, this is anyway very different. Is we focus ekdam. We won't talk about anything else.
Yeah, Arpit, I'm also talking to Mansi soon about whether we can incorporate their stuff in our demo plan. So yeah, do that. Yeah, help sharks out. My name is Anish Malpani. We're building Without. We're an impact first material science company that's reimagining waste and poverty here in India. We're starting off with chips packets, multi-layered plastic, think like your Lays, These are the least recycled plastic waste in the world. Less than 1% of is recycled globally. It's very interesting. You'll see a lot of plastic recycling say 9% of plastic, but then PET is very high recycling rate, and HDPE is very high recycling rates. But like MLP has the least recycling rate. We have patent pending technology that separates the layers, extracts materials from it, and we make high quality materials. So as a proof of concept, we made the world's first recycled sunglasses, which has kind of given us some exposure, frankly, because of which we ended up on Shark Tank. But yeah, at the heart of it, we want to sell materials at large scale and replace virgin plastics or virgin materials with recycled and sustainable materials as much as possible. So this is just the start. I think we have a long way to go in our journey.
Yeah, so cool. I think great pitches, guys. I think definitely you all deserve some checks for sure. But I think now I think it's been the high time. I think we're going to jump right into the piece where, all of us, one by one, can you share how was it during that day, right? Like, I think we did start some conversations there, but like, was it like super intense? Like, how was the setup, right? You walk in the room first time, like, did you guys like prep a lot before you went there? One by one, if you can just share your experiences, I think that could be interesting.
So
I think we got, I think we were the first ones to shoot that day, and we got to know that the previous night. So we were actually pretty happy that we are the first ones being shot. But even if you are the first one being shot, you are 5 hours before it's shot, right? So we were there at 7 a.m. We started shooting at around 11:30, and they put like a full layer of plaster of Paris on your face, which you apparently cannot remove because they'll re-put it again. It was pretty annoying, but we were the first to shoot. The shoot went really well, as I mentioned before, right? Had a lot of good time. Like in general, I was very nervous for the shoot, but it actually went better than I thought it would, right? In terms of intensity of the conversation, right? Ours was very light when it was actually shot. It was sort of made a little bit intense in the edit, but like the way it was shot, like it was very, very casual. Even like the 2000 crore thing, which is now like dramatized in this, it was very casual when it actually happened, right? So, but after the shoot happened, again, that lethargic, boring feeling for throughout the day because they do not let you go. And we shot like a 15-second reel at like 8:30 p.m. And then, so yeah, it was good. But then during, like, again, one interesting thing, like during the time we were waiting, we randomly met Aman. Like, he's genuinely like a Delhiite. He's like, how do you imagine? Like, I don't know how to say that word in a nice manner.
This is a good reel, Shreyan, so let's do it.
But yeah, so, and then we met Radhika in her van, and she, like, there's genuine love for materials and saris with that woman. Like, she's not pretending it. Like, I could see, I've not seen anyone that passionate about a piece of clothing, right? So yeah, it was sort of a good day out, I would say, like for us at least.
Interesting. And how much practice did you do before going on the tank?
Like similar to Mansi, right? We were like, our journey to the tank was very similar to her. In September, we actually directly got called to an audition saying that someone from Bangalore ecosystem has recommended you. So we'll directly call you for the audition. And for the longest time, I believe it was SusMafia who did that because I'd recently joined.
Yeah, we did that.
So, and then it was supposed to be shot in December, then January, then nothing. And then on 10th of March, they tell us that it's going to shoot on 15th of March and please come. And then we went, and we actually couldn't be there on the first day of rehearsal, right? All of other guys reached on 14th. We reached around 15th evening. So pehle se hi, we were like 1 day behind. And the next day also, like, we pitched once or twice, I think. And then it was a direct pitch there. So we did not practice a lot. And while we were there, we were not, like, I think, allowed to go on the set before as well. Because if we had gone before, like, we could have got a sense of it, but that we weren't given that opportunity. So yeah, that was different, but all in all, this was the journey.
Nice. So I think overall, I mean, without practice, you were able to do so well because your pitch came like so fluent, right? I think it was felt very casual by the end of it. Ki, haan, 5 sharks come on board.
Yeah.
I think it was one of my good days of speaking in public. I rarely have those, but it was good timing.
Nice. Very interesting. Who's gonna, Arpit, you wanna go next?
Yeah, for me, my shoot was in September, and it was the time of Ganpati Visarjan. So it was so Mumbai was crazy at that time. Mumbai was crazy at that time. So again, matlab, a lot of things were happening, and I was not able to understand कि मुझे करना क्या है. So basically, I thought कि ठीक है, we are there for 4 days, so let me get a few meetings as well, क्योंकि मुंबई आने जाने का पैसा कौन बार-बार देगा. So I thought कि ठीक है, we will do the practice from morning till evening. Then I'll go and do a couple of meetings, and then for the next 2 days. So 4 meetings भी हो जाएंगे. That was the biggest mistake that I did. Because in evening, if you want to go out in Mumbai during the Ganpati time, it's impossible to travel. It's absolutely impossible to travel. All my meetings we had to cancel. कि भाई नहीं हो पाएगा. And I being very adventurous, I did say कि नहीं मैं तो I will make it there. है ना? तो once I tried taking a local metro, local train. Sorry. Very crazy experience, bhai. Next day I thought कि ठीक है, I'll book the conventional Uber and go. Again, a very bad decision. So a lot of things were happening at that time, and मेरा birthday भी था उसी time पे. So it was 26th was my birthday. 26th we had to reach there, so I had to miss all of those things. 27, 28, 29 was my shoot, and 30th I had to come back. और सेम एज देम कि पहले 3 दिन दे वुड आस्क यू कि प्रैक्टिस करो प्रैक्टिस में क्या करोगे, इन 2 or 3 पिचेस यू दे वुड बी लाइक ठीक है अब तो सही है, एंड देन वी वुड बी लाइक कि भाई जाने दो, नहीं जाना नहीं जाना शाम. एंड सेम ऑन द शूट डे. सो व्हाट ही इज सेइंग श्रेयांश की फर्स्ट पिच जिसने किया ना वो भी 8:30 बजे फ्री होगा, एंड जिसने लास्ट पिच किया 6 बजे वो भी 8:30 बजे फ्री होगा.
You can't leave technically. Like once you.
So they would say that now the pitch is done. Now there are various departments that you have to get a clearance from. There are 4 or 5 departments. Now you have to get a clearance from a creative department. Then you have to get clearance from some BD department. I don't remember now fully. And then they would keep you waiting. And then they also take away your phones. So you don't have your phones while you are waiting, and that's so irritating and so annoying. I mean, we as founders, we don't like to waste time. वो ऐसे एंजाइटी होने लगती है कि यार क्या करता हूँ, क्या कुछ तो दो हाथ में, क्या करूँ मैं. इट्स अच्छा. और फिर फोन भी नहीं है. एंड देन आई वाज लाइक भाई मैं गया कैमरामैन के पास, मतलब एक जो जूनियर आर्टिस्ट है, एंड आई सेड भाई अपना फोन देते, मेरे को गेम खेलना है. मैं सर फोटो नहीं तो किसी का. आई एम सो इरिटेटेड. एंड 3.5 hours तक they won't give you a phone after your pitch is done. And then they would say कि नहीं किसी और से बात नहीं करनी है. मतलब ऐसे स्कूल का जो वाइवा वाला सीन होता था ना, उसको ऐसे make it 10 times more intense कि वैसे एकदम ऐसे strict invigilator. There is also a person who's accompanying you all the time. So if you have to go to loo, you have to take that person till the loo gate. Then come back with him. So
On the outside,
we did not have this. We did not have this. We got our phones as soon as I got out from the pitch. Like,
this was Jain to me. Like, I mean, quite surprised to hear.
You don't get your phone. You cannot go to take a loo with your own decision. My partner Anand, he wanted to take a smoke. उसको बाहर नहीं जाने दे रहे. क्या कर रहे हो लोग, फट जाएगा हम खड़े खड़े यहाँ पे. And फिर उसके बाद you get free at 8:30. So I was like कि अच्छा ही है कि दिन में हुआ. कम से कम ये जो irritating time है after the shoot, that was 3-4 hours for other people who came in very early. So on the same day.
Basically, imagine if this was you, but Arpit shoot, right?
You got free at 12, and then you have to wait till 8:30 and do the same things, and you don't have your phone, and you can't go to movie on your own decision. Or lunch भी they would bring, and they would say कि यहीं बैठ के खाना, वहाँ नहीं जाके खाना. वहाँ पे नए contestant है, fresh contestant, you would transfer the information and you tell them, you leak the questions. And I was like भाई ऐसे कौन से rocket science वाले question आ रहे हैं जब मैं formula बता दूंगा, and they would copy. But you have to eat a separate lunch in a separate place. The people who have not yet pitched would say eat in a separate place, and that was very frustrating. But yeah, I mean, part of the process, whatever they've built, the rules have to be followed.
Partial process. But
Part of
Mansi,
because again, so Anish and I, where we shot, so that's a film city. I don't know where you guys had your shoot. It was in the film city, and just behind our shooting was I think dance India dance shooting going on when my shoot was going on. So Govinda was there on that same day. So they had the fear ki, if the founders are going for anything and they go on for a stroll, they might disturb anyone else's shooting going on. So that's the logic behind it. That they will.
We didn't have any of this.
You didn't have any of this, huh?
No, I mean, we were shooting.
You were either way the last one on the.
It was like, middle of nowhere. Suddenly, हमारे सामने एक दो दिन में set खड़ा हो गया, sort of thing. And I mean, for me at least, it was very different because our shoot was the end of the day. We shot at 9 p.m. or like 8 p.m. I think. So it was like, everyone's tired. The sharks are tired. But the last bit of everything. And yeah, I mean, I think the whole day's anticipation made us a little bit nervous as well because we're just sitting there. We're seeing all these people come out from there, and some of them are smiling, some of them are sad. It's like a whole mix of reactions. And then everyone's sort of like, did you hear? Did you hear? Uska ye hua, uska wo hua. And I was like, just do not talk to me. Like, please let me in a room. I don't want to hear what happened to anyone. I just want to like think and be on my own. Yeah, so that was our day. And then after we were done, they were like, please nikal jao. Please bathroom mein jao, nikal jao yahan se. We need to close this whole set.
but I was thinking, right? I mean, for you specifically, because I know your core motivation wasn't that. But like, did the question like sort of bring you down, or like you were okay, comfortable in the room?
It's fine, honestly. Like, I think they've set up the place well. I didn't feel like cameras hain and we're like seeing all these lights and all those things. It felt like we were just in a room and talking to people. Of course, there's the distance, there's the fact that you're standing, all of that. But overall, the environment was comfortable. I didn't have any issue with that. I think the conversation was also more or less good. I think we didn't know what was going to happen in terms of offer, no offer right until the end. Like, even when they were talking, we were like, dega nahi dega, no one knew what was going to end up happening. So overall, I think the conversation was positive. They were quite engaged until right at the end. I think the main challenges that I had, at least with the setup, was what I was sharing earlier, like, not getting time to explain. So let's say, for example, simple thing, like what is your TAM, right? So I begin by talking about my current product ka TAM. Like, okay, when I'm talking, my pitch is focused on wastewater. I'll tell you about wastewater in India. So I say that, and then I'm going to go on, right? I'm going to be like, and then wastewater global, and then other water applications we're doing in India. Hence this. So I was trying to like explain it because it's a completely, like, they would have no idea about this market. But then as soon as I said one sentence, they were like, okay, iska breakdown batao. Ye calculation kaise hui? Buildings mein kitna, industries mein kitna, itna hua. And then I would give one figure and they would be like, nahi, but itne industries to hai, nahi hai, whatever. So you just get kind of like caught in this web of like, their instantaneous questions rather than getting to zoom out and tell the narrative. So that was mostly, I think, my challenge, at least. There were lots of things that we wanted to share, which it was just like, nahi, pehle mera sawal, pehle mera jawab. Or just, time nahi hai, chhod do, usko chhod do, Azhar ko chhod do, mera jawab. So that was what I struggled with, at least.
Was it similar with other you guys as well? Like, I mean, was it like too many questions same time and instantaneously you have to just answer whatever is the last question? Or you can't go back?
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. I think when they get into it, then there was a lot of banter and yeah, like even what Mansi's saying that they cut you off. I mean, but that's also the generally VC world, right? They don't just wait for you to say anything.
That's not true, right? Like when you do a pitch, usually you get your 10 minutes, like at the beginning. 10
at
15
the beginning, they cut you off in the beginning?
No, see,
They give you 3
minute
minutes.
का pitch हुआ, right? उसके बाद फिर very soon after they were like, okay, product क्या करता है? So we started explaining. I would say like 50% of the way through the product, they were like, okay, cool, got it. And I was like, no, but you missed the main part. Like the main part of my product demo I didn't have to show. But they were like, acha, theek hai. And yeah, so from then onwards, I think it was continuously like that. And I don't know, I mean, maybe it was also the end of the day and all of those
I
things.
think
So they were also like in, so there.
Yeah, even I got the end of the day, right? So I feel like I felt the tiredness. They were like, yeah. So like Aman, I think he put on sunglasses and he didn't take them off the entire pitch. Like so, so it's like he had these like khaki sunglasses on, and it's obviously longer. It's not a 15-minute thing. It was like I don't even know how long it was. I think ours wasn't very long. I think 45 minutes an hour because it was the last pitch. I think also Aman, yeah. So towards the end, I think he gave an offer also to kind of end the pitch because once you give an offer. Then it's like everybody else has to kind of start seeing if they want to give an offer. So you come towards the end of the pitch. So I think they were all a little tired. So yeah, similar to you, Mansi, from that perspective.
And how much practice Anish and Mansi you guys did right before the pitch, or you were like, I'll just go ace it?
No, I mean, again, like we didn't have that much time, right? Before, like we got to know very last minute that it's happening. So it's not like we had days, but I think the 2-3 days we were there, we did dedicate just to this. So we had the temptation of being like meetings karte, but we were like, chodo. Like it's also our time to sit together and put aside other stuff, discuss our metrics. Although to be fair, it wasn't really pitch practice. We were more just going through all the numbers and so on. Because honestly, for us at least, the business model is complex in that, different segments, there's like a wide variety, and explaining all those technicalities. When we work with a new facility versus an existing operational facility, again, the whole cycle, all those things change. So breaking everything down, deciding what complexity to reveal and not to reveal, I think that's what took us time rather than practicing the pitch itself.
Interesting.
No, I practiced the pitch a lot. I was very nervous about my Hindi, so I must have done like 50 iterations, just making sure I get it right. I mean, it's 3 minutes, so you just kind of just going looping. I was a little more confident after the pitch. I was like, a pitch ho gaya, but question answers ho jayenge. I'm not stressed about that. So yeah, I did it. That was nerve-wracking. Yeah, but I mean, I think similar to all of these guys, it's just they kind of they're a bit like. I didn't feel like we had to be there 3 days before, because I think they had like 2 or 3 big meetings. You have like the finance meeting, and then you have the pitch meeting, and you have this meeting. But they could have just been. I think they could have just kind of done that all in one day if they were organized, if they were well organized. It's a bit like, oh, abhi mere paas time hai, tum aao. Let's talk about your pitch. Let's talk about your finance. Let's talk about your personal backstory. But also one more piece of I want to give them credit. Like they were very like for our pitch at least, any statistic that we were saying, they wanted like primary sources, right? Which is great. Like I mean, like they really grilled us. They're like, no, you're saying you can't say 4 million, you say 1.5 million plus, because range is 1.5 to 4 million. So you can't say 4 million waste pickers in India. Say 1.5 million plus. And I like that. And they're like, give me the primary source for this. Kahan se aaya? So they really grilled us on. I mean, they were particular about that. And I felt very good because I felt like all the other pitches that might have been on, it's not like you can say whatever you want. I think they are making sure that you use the right things. And like before we went on air, we got multiple emails. I want proof of this. You're saying it's the world's first recycled sunglasses. What proof do you have? How do you, so they were very particular about this. I'm like, proof to nahi hai yaar, certificate nahi milta hai, world's first. But you Google it and see what happens. But they were like, no, do you have a news article or something? I'm like, yeah, we do. So they were particular about that. During the pitch, yeah, I think I don't know, because I think we were asked some interesting questions that I felt were not very relevant. Like at one point on the Sharks was like, what is that shirt you're wearing? I'm like, so it's my brand t-shirt. They're like, oh, is it recycled? I'm like, no, it's not recycled. Like, your jeans, are they recycled? I'm like, no, they're not recycled. I'm like, my shoes were recycled. I was wearing Neiman's recycled shoes and recycled sunglasses. I mean, my frames. Like, no, you don't believe in what you do. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, sorry. And I moved on. So they cut that out, which was great. I felt it was so irrelevant. I'm like, okay, theek hai, sorry, yaar.
I have an interesting question, Anish, on that point, right? Like I've been thinking about this, and probably because they did try last time, it didn't happen, and this time I think, as you guys are saying, they had in mind that we have to do something about like sustainability and climate startups, right? They got an episode called Climateprenuers, right? I think I was looking at stats out of 150 plus pitches that happened, 8% of them, some or the other, were like sustainable, right? Like different domains of sustainable startups. Like, what do you think is happening here? from your insight as climate entrepreneurs, right? Because climate businesses are very different. The way they're built very different. The scale, the way they are scaled very different, right? Like, did you guys get a quick sense or some insights just for the fact that Shark Tank is even entertaining climate startups to be there?
No, I think it's just, I mean, I don't know. I think we saw a lot of people we know who've been on Shark Tank. I mean, like just people we know. I think the ecosystem is really vast, but there's also a lot of noise, right? So, and I think even climate startups like ours, we're also just startups. I think we're doing interesting things. So it's like it wasn't. I think some of us qualified just because it's the story. It's always about the story for them, right? Like what is the angle, and then to some extent they care about the picture as well. What's the picture story? How's he going to talk about this? Like Pat Care, like we saw how he got a special, like they shot a special pre video for him where they interviewed his mother and all of that as well, right? So it's a lot of it's about the story as well. So I don't think there was a special. I mean, I think just climate startups are on the rise. So it's bound to, like, 8% seems like a nice number. And we're doing interesting work. It's relevant. I think the Ecopreneur episode was very extra special, right? Like they went out of their way to talk about that. Versus for us, it was just like, hey, we were one of the other sharks. Like we had like two other during our show, there was Altco, there was which does like alternative milk, and then there was Kibo, which does technology for the blind, right? So it was all impact centric. So there were some themes, but yeah, I don't know if there was like a special thing. I just like this is just how the natural progression. But I could be wrong. I wonder what other guys think.
I'm curious to see what Mansi and Shreyan think, right? Because they were there on the Ecopreneur.
No, sorry, go for it.
So for us, I think at least in my pitch, every shark knew what was happening, right? So especially, for example, Namita, she knew the agri-waste space. She knew agri-waste collection is a challenge in the country, and then she knew all the other companies. She mentioned like 8-10 companies who are working in the space, and she's like spoken to some of them, and it was a pleasant surprise, right, for me, like that much depth of knowledge with regards to the subject. And I think again, not Azhar and Radhika also, like they had a sense of the space in general, right? Is what I felt. But again, there is significant awareness, is what I felt, right, within the sharks as well with regards to the space. And I think they might have been given like one-liners to speak in between, right? Those to seem like you are climate conscious and you are aware about the space, and they spoke that while we were during the Q&A part, right? So questions regarding how can you get carbon credits out of it eventually, things like that. So I think I actually thought the number would be higher than 8 because the amount of knowledge that the sharks already had with the space. So yeah, I think as Anish mentioned, right, sustainability is as a business proposition is on the rise, and like once something has momentum, it spreads everywhere.
Yeah, Mansi?
I agree. I mean, I think, like, of course, the Ecopreneur special, there was a mandate behind it, maybe coming from the LPs, like you were talking about earlier, maybe coming from the Sony team. I also felt that. Like, I thought the Shark Tank team, a lot of them were particularly interested and, keen to see this sort of rolled out. So I think a mix of just general business progression in that direction, a lot of D2C brands also beginning to have that sort of branding, and some startups probably being there because they specifically wanted to focus on that. I think, but climate is a theme, it's not a sector, and there's a wide variety of knowledge, depth, responses. So in contrast, for us at least, because the market is very different, right? Like we're not selling into anything which can be conjured as direct consumer products. So I felt that there was like no knowledge of the market, and which is fine. Like that's completely what I expected. I actually felt like whatever knowledge there was actually hampering us, because there were, for instance, one of the sharks was like, why don't you do rainwater harvesting? And I was like, but that's like a whole separate thing. It's like completely, that's just the one thing that maybe people would have heard of because it is something which they might have engaged on more at an individual level. And so that conversation actually like went in a loop where they were like, you should do this, you should do that. And I was like, this has no actually backing and relevance. It's just the things that you would know as consumers. And then the other, on the flip side, unrelated to sustainability, they were dissecting us and interpreting some of the things we do in typical B2B language. But there is more nuance there as well in terms of like market growth rate, in terms of stickiness of the solution, and so on. Like you can't, for instance, be like, if this price point is like this is the right price point for B2B, because it depends on a variety of factors like contract length and churn rate and all of those things. So I don't know. Personally, I felt like there was a lot of interest from the Sony team, and I think broadly there's a lot of business progression in this direction. On the Sharks end, there was I didn't feel like that much. I think a briefing at least would have helped for a new market like us. Yeah, and whatever little information was there was actually a downside or something that we had to put in a lot of extra effort to sort of explain and counter.
Yeah. Arpit, was it the same for you?
Same. I mean, we were selected in a different fashion. I mean, our selection was very mainstream. We did not get any reference or anything. We had to apply to those long forms, and there was no special edge given just to the system, or there was no lead. There was, I mean, it was truly just like any other pitch. There was nothing special about the sustainability part. Nobody talked about the sustainability angle even. If you see the pitch, it was just the very starting 3 minutes. There is this air pollution, the problem that we are trying to solve. But apart from that, it was all about the material that we are building and how much business can it generate, what are the problems, how can they be solved. Very less on the sustainability part on our pitch. Also in the selection process, also in the audit process, there was people were amazed that this would solve a sustainability issue. The people were excited that this is something new, that this is something new way of making a material. That was a generic excitement. So not sure. I mean, we had no advantage / effect / not a good advantage of being a sustainability company.
So the sense I'm getting, like from different stories, right? It's like the Sony team realized, hey, sustainability is a theme and a trend right now. I mean, I'm sure they want to do good, right? But they didn't really like go above and beyond to say, hey, you know what, these business models need to be also be looked differently. I'm going to evaluate you. They probably look the same way. I'm going to evaluate 10,000 other companies in all the different sectors, right? So as a climate entrepreneur, there wasn't like a, per se differentiation that they had in their heads. I'm sure from a PR marketing point of view, they did get the Ecopreneur in place, right? But on the flip side, I also do see, I think, this helping the ecosystem in one way or the other. At least a lot of young people who might be watching shows and watching you guys pitching, right, would at least be inspired now. Hey, you know what? 8% of the pitches were one way or the other climate pitches, right? I think that's a very good number for a season like 3, right? To even come on board, right? Solutions can be different, but I think that awareness point of view, hopefully this picks up. But I think one question on this front, right? For anyone, let's say today on the call or even going to be listening to this later, right? Who's going to be starting up in the climate space and all these things that you've gone through. Like, what is one quick piece of advice if one of you can throw based on your SharkTank experience also, right? Like, how do you think things are changing? Really quick, one-on-one, and then we can move on to the next one. Anish, you want to go first? Anyone who's starting up?
Yeah, sure. Like, I mean, I think if social enterprise and impact climate is like the future, right? All enterprises to some extent are going to be purpose centric. It's going to happen more and more now where profit is not going to be the only thing. So, I mean, I think it might make sense to kind of get ahead of the game a little bit. I think that's a natural progression. It's my perspective, to be wrong.
Arpit?
Yeah, I think the way the economy is changing now, people have a lot more spending power. And now the middle class is expanding. And what happens when middle class expands is that they want some sort of betterment, either for the community or for the nation at large, or for even better good. That sense is always there. Now, since these people now have spending power, that's where business like ours start making much more sense. That everybody, if they start paying up, let's say a 1% delta capital, and if everybody is doing that, the entire economy is raised by, let's say, 1% delta capital. I mean, it would not be a linear relation, but just putting a number out there. And that's what delta makes space. So I'll give you example. I mean, this might sound gibberish in this fashion. But for example, let's say 10 years ago or 20 years ago, right? If you would have seen a product on the shelf, and you would have always gone for the cheapest product possible. Like if there are biscuits, you would always, at least I would always go for, let's say, Parle-G. But now, since our family earning has increased, we want to get the better taste, better quality, better experience, right? And that extrapolates, what is this company doing for the environment? What is it this company doing for my health? What is it this company doing for the health of the workers that are doing? So many other factors start coming into picture, because then you can afford other options, right? And this is a trend that I've been seeing very significantly, and that's why I see that the space is maturing very fast, because people have the capacity to pay. um, so I feel the future is going to be much more relevant, because the paying capacity is going to increase. If the paying capacity increases, the biggest problem that all the eco entrepreneurs, or the social category entrepreneurs, is that their usually products or services are usually costlier. I have so far not seen any product slash service which is sustainable and cheaper. I mean, we all are in that category, right? So people need to have that paying capacity to be able to afford us. That's when the businesses would thrive, and that is happening gradually. And as the middle class grows, that's where I feel most of the sensible spending happens. So the sensible spending increases, more and more space would be created for impactful startups or impactful companies to come into picture. And as Anish says, impact first and business second. So there will be space for such companies to operate.
Interesting. Mansi, Shreyan, really quick. What's your take?
I think things are changing fast, but anyone who wants to get into the space should at least have a 10-year horizon. I think I see a lot of people entering who are looking for like existing solutions and remodeling them as sustainable and putting it out there. I think there's no quick buck, and it will take its own sweet time. So if you're in for the long run, this is the space to be.
I agree. I mean, I think it depends on the kind of innovation or work you're doing in the space. A lot of it does involve more R&D, deep tech, all of that. Also, I think everyone knows now about sustainability generally, whether it's businesses, whether it's individuals. But for it to really permeate into decision making, it is still going to take some time. At least in terms of it becoming mainstream. And at least B2B, where we operate, I would say organizations all have mandates. They have mandates around net zero, net water, water positive, whatever. But they're still very much on the pathway of figuring out where they are and like how they're going to get there. And it is not permeated across all levels of decision making. So yeah, it is a longer term game, but I think it's a purposeful game. I mean, it's worth doing. That's why we're all here. So yeah.
Nice. So I think it's already 7:58, right? But one last thing, which is, how did things change after the episode got aired, right? Like what happened? Tell us. Did your websites crash? What went down? How did you navigate that? One by one, we'll answer this, and then we'll open it up basically for everyone to answer their questions, right? After airing, how this thing changed? What happened? Give us some insights.
So for me, like things change a lot on the personal space. Suddenly, like people around you start respecting you, and it might sound childish, but like that's a big change that has happened in the past 10 days in my life. And speaking on the business front, right, for us, like being a core B2B company, we are in the space for 4 years. We have met like virtually any fashion company that anyone here can think of, right? We sent an email or met them or had some form of interaction with them, but there was no sense of urgency, right? Everyone liked it, हाँ सब बढ़िया है, making a good product, but there was no sense of urgency to adopt. Now, as soon as this gets aired, there is that little bit sense of urgency. Now people are like कि चलो अब एक collection तो बना के देखते हैं, let's see what happens, that kind of a thing. So far it's not been long since it's aired, but so far it's been a great experience post the airing.
How many inbounds are you getting, Shreyansh, now?
Yeah, our total visitors before Shark Tank this year were 228, and now they've crossed like 2 lakhs. So I think we're getting a lot.
Wow, in 10 days.
Yes.
Insane. Mansi, what about you? How was the experience for you?
No, I think it's been great. For us, let's see. On the personal front, I mean, it's been nice. There's been a lot of positive comments. The YouTube has so many comments. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I was reading through them. They were saying the sharks should be different. Why the hell are these sharks? You should get views from the tank for Mansi. She's doing such.
I mean, I think the I guess overall it's been very nice. Like the comments have been largely all positive and in support. Gotten a lot of nice compliments as well, which is cool. I think, but yeah, I mean, on the personal front, not that much has changed. Just some. It's nice to take a moment to get some validation. But on the business front, things have been really good. So again, it's just happened. Like it's just been 10 days. But we've gotten a lot of great inquiries, like exactly the sorts of customers that we wanted to reach, where they have a genuine problem, they're not being able to solve it. But they're sitting somewhere like in Kanpur or something, like we are not reaching out to them because we don't even, I don't know, even we're still figuring out our business development engine. And so the inquiries we're getting now, the quality is very different. Of course, there's a quantity, we've probably gotten, I would say like 20, 25 really good inquiries, which is, a lot, like that's substantial for us. But the quality is very different because all their leadership teams are coming. They all want to speak to us and so on. So they are taking it seriously and they want to implement fast. So that's great. And I think the other part is just it's permanent sales collateral. So there's some customers who had gone dead for us. Now they suddenly seen the pitch, or maybe we just sent it to them and they got re-engaged. So that's what I'm personally excited about, like this is still very new for us. I'm sure in a couple more days or weeks, sorry, the light always goes at this time, but couple more days or weeks, it'll like slow down. But the fact that we always have this and we can send this link around, I think it's going to help us permanently. So yeah, let's see. I think it's been great.
Collateral. Arpit,
But
you.
yeah, so for me, I mean, this on similar lines as Shreyan's. So as we are a B2B company, so itna zyada effect was not seen. I mean, the website obviously saw an increase. I don't even know the numbers now. But yeah, for the client side, there was no movement. There was a lot of calls that we received from the farmer side. We have material, ye le lo humse, which was sort of not what we want. There's a lot of logistic things that need to be put in place. There's a lot of collection mechanism that needs to be put in place. What happened with me is that I've been receiving a lot of drunk calls at night.
Oh shit. That's that. In the night, this farmer from Tripura is calling, and then suddenly in some other language, I'm hearing that I have queen pineapple.
ऐसा ही मेरे को एक ऐसे कॉल आया था कि आप इधर आ जाओ बस, आप इधर आ जाओ बस, सारा पैसा मैं लगा दूंगा, जगह मैं दे दूंगा, खरीद भी मैं लूंगा, सब मैं कर दूं, तुम आ जाओ बस। ये ड्रंक कॉल बहुत बढ़ गए, तो इसमें ये एक चैलेंज आया मुझे काफी टाइम तक। बट आज लाइक मानसी सेड कि ऐसे नेगेटिव कमेंट्स तो नहीं थे यूट्यूब पे, सो थैंक गॉड वो अच्छा रहा अपने लिए कि उसमें इतना ज्यादा प्रॉब्लमेटिक नहीं था। पर ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ कि लोग पहचानने लग गए, आप जा रहे हो तो किसी ने देखा है, पड़ोसी मुझे तो लगता नहीं हुआ कि मेरा एपिसोड किसी ने भी देखा है ऐसे। आई थिंक सबने ना बस मीम देख लिया, तो वो मीम सबने शेयर कर दिया एंड दे आर लाइक कि इनको वो 1 मिनट पता है पिच का कि इसमें ये हुआ था, घंटों वाली बात हुई थी, दैट इज इट। उसी पे कॉन्वर्सेशन होता है। आई डोंट थिंक किसी ने पूरा एपिसोड देखा है, एटलीस्ट मतलब जो नियर बाय नेबर्स।
Also, 1250 for 100 hours. What was that, right? It took you by surprise.
हाँ, वो सरप्राइज एलिमेंट था। 1% देना है, कितने शेयर्स हैं, 10 रुपीस पर शेयर पे यू गिवन एडवाइजरी इक्विटी, तो इट कम्स आउट टू बी 1250। सो दैट वाज अ वेरी सिंपल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड थिंग। बट आई थिंक ये हम लोग के साथ तो मैक्सिमम ऑफ द इनबाउंड हैज बीन फ्रॉम द फार्मर साइड, वेरी लिटिल फ्रॉम द कस्टमर साइड, तो उतना ज्यादा रेलेवेंस नहीं है। बट लाइक मानसी सेड, दिस इज अ परमानेंट कोलैटरल। अगर किसी को एक्साइट करना है तो भेज दो, एंड देन से कि सर आपने देखा नहीं, ओहो चलो आप देख लो, मैं दोबारा कॉल करता हूँ। फिर
We had some customers who sat us down कि अभी देखते हैं, 15 मिनट अभी देखते हैं, and we're like इस चीज को।
पर अनीश आपका B2C है थोड़ा सा, you have some offering, आपका तो काफी significant
No, actually, yeah. So we expected more sales because we have sunglasses that we sell, right? We didn't sell that much. And this is not I mean, when we first launched, we also got a little viral, and that was an organic viral, right? There was no big event.
Yeah.
It just we dropped a video and it caught fire. We saw like 5x more sales when we organically went viral than after Shark Tank. But yeah, I mean, again, it was a good experience. I mean, again, for us also, we've never spent $1 on advertising for our sunglasses. We don't really care as much for how much we sell when it comes to sunglasses. More worried about materials and we've gotten some inquiries on materials. We've gotten a lot of inquiries for our technology, which is very interesting. Let's open a plant together. We want your plant, and that's something we want to do in the future. Is like set up our own plants because the technology is novel. So that was interesting, and then similar to what and it's similar to what everybody else has, like a lot of no drunk calls, but just yeah, it's a lot of validate. Like I think it becomes easier to talk to, like people take you more seriously, right? Like so, in the beginning as a startup, you're always like, sir, please, 8 minute do. I know we're not worth it. I know we're not gonna buy enough material from you. But please, now it's a little bit nicer. Like they listen to you, they want to work with you, they get your story. Plus, also you get to communicate, like let's just pitch dekh lo, and then you can talk to us. So you know what the story is. So yeah, I think it's a positive altogether, but nothing like, oh my God, like it's changed our company altogether. But that's the thing, I think for all of our startups, right? I was telling the team, we were at a board meeting in a town hall yesterday. I was telling the team that it was great, the Shark Tank episode, and then we had Lakme, Fashion Week, all of that. But agar ye hua bhi nahi hota, so it wouldn't significantly change. I mean, like it's not like it's the end of the world. For many D2C brands, they go 10x, 100x.
B2C companies go.
But it's funny, they say 10x, 100x. मतलब उनका baseline क्या है, right? I also want to know कि baseline क्या था. Like it's 10x, it's like what's your baseline, right? But because even we got like a 10x increase, and it's like no, but it's like that's not, baseline is low, so overall it wasn't really that great. I mean, it's not exceptional. I think I've heard from other B2C startups also that the sales haven't been anywhere close to what they expected or what they had last year. So either the TRP is down or I don't know. It's interesting though.
Yeah.
So did you guys, your videos are on social media, have they been taken down? As all the videos have been taken down from Instagram?
हमारा अभी तक तो नहीं निकला हुआ है. I saw on those groups, ना Shark Tank का group अपने पर, they were saying things like we haven't posted a lot, to be honest. So I don't know. अभी तक तो नहीं निकला है. But I know a couple of people that have it's gone down. I don't know. What about you guys, Shreyan and Mansi?
I don't know actually.
Recent, I think within a month they get down. Yours is old now.
Yeah, mine is old. Abhi tak they haven't got. I mean, they maybe come to us. I've told the team that if you get did you get a notice?
No, it was just taken down. I just got a notification on Instagram that this video has been taken down because of copyright issues.
Copyright infringements, yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll also get it at some point. We should be prepared for that. Yeah.
Awesome. I think this has been super fun, right? I think I'm just looking at the time. We'll open up for questions. But thanks, guys, for coming in, sharing everything. I'm sure a lot of people heard about bunch of masala, what happens in the background, how the process looks like. And anytime if they want to, probably going for the shark, if one of them is an entrepreneur here, happy they can reach out to you guys. Right? So I'm going to stop the recording now and just pick up some of the questions that are there.